Hi, hello, and welcome back to Book Break. Today, we're going to be delving into some books that are based on true stories or are a true story. I think whenever I know that something is based on a true story, I gravitate more towards it because I want to know what happens. I want to know how it links to history. I am desperate to know these things. And so I've curated 6 books that I think are perfect true stories. They're based on things that they're just based on history, okay? And you should read them, because I said so. I have a few fiction and a couple non-fiction for you as well. So there's something for everybody in this list. And yeah, let's just get straight into it. This is the debut novel from Hanya Yanagihara, which is The People in the Trees. This book is written in some form of memoir, it feels like. And the narrator's voice is so interesting because they're so unlikable. You don't like them when reading this book. It's set in the 1950s when Norton Purina is embarking on this journey to go and find a lost tribe. The reasoning for this is the fact that the tribe claims that they have the secret to immortality. They know the secret, and of course, Norton Purina is like, I want to come and find the secret, and I'm going to go back to America with it, and I'm going to be successful. And that's exactly what happens. But of course, the discovery of knowing how to be immortal comes at such a high cost, and things escalate, and the tension in this book is so palpable that it feels really claustrophobic at points. I think the fact as well that this is their first novel speaks volumes on how well it's written and how engrossing the story is. And then once you go and do some research into the book after you finish it, or before if you're interested, you just get such a fuller and richer picture. But yeah, this book is really incredible and it's the first one on our list. And I also love the fact that it's part of the Picador collection, because all of the Picador collection has these spines and they all match, which I will show you with the next book, which is Burial Rites by Hannah Kent. Again, Picador collection, absolutely stunning cover. And this one is blue. Can you see? Lovely, lovely spines, covers, gorgeous, love them. It's 1829 and a woman has been condemned to death because she has supposedly murdered her lover. A family are forced to take her in, a priest is forced to absolve her, and everybody thinks they know the story, except nobody's actually asked her about what went on. A classic, some would say. This book specifically is, I think, so powerful. Well, it is so powerful because of the fact that everybody seems to know the story of Agnes, who is our main character in this, and they are positioning her as a villain. But the thing is, they're a villain in her story, whereas when you actually get to know her story, is she? Is she really? This is set in the 1820s when women did have limited power. You really get to see how those limitations are put into play and how they are used against her as well. Now, because of the fact that I have given you such a short synopsis, and I think that's all you need to know about this book before you go into it, because you'll have a much more vibrant reading experience, I'm going to read you the prologue just to show you how, firstly, incredible the writing is, and second of all, I hope you're intrigued by this, because when I first read the prologue, I was like, oh, so I have to read the entire book now. They said I must die. They said that I stole the breath from men, and now they must steal mine. I imagine then that we are all candle flames, greasy bright, fluttering in the darkness, and the howl of the wind, and in the stillness of the room I hear footsteps. Awful coming footsteps, coming to blow me out and send my life up away from me in a grey wreath of smoke. I will vanish into the air and the night. They will blow us all out one by one until it is only their light by which they see themselves. Where will I be then? Sometimes I think I can see it again, the farm burning in the dark. Sometimes I can feel the ache of winter in my lungs, and I think I see the flames mirrored in the ocean, the water so strange, so flickered with light. There was a moment during that night when I looked back. I looked back to watch the fire, and if I lick my skin, I can still taste the salt, the smoke. It wasn't always so cold. I hear footsteps. Go read this book, because I told you so, and that prologue is the reason to. Now, if you want something that isn't based on a true story but is in fact a true story, may I recommend Crying in H Mart. Michelle Zauner crafts such an emotional novel in this, and it tells the story of her and her relationship to her mother. A lot of this, obviously, Michelle Zauner also talks so much about her culture and how she feels kind of pulled between two different cultures because of the fact that she is of mixed race. I think this is one of those books that you read it and you'll either cry or you'll be so impacted that you have to sit there for just a few moments and really take it in once you finish reading and sit with your thoughts. Ponder, some would say. You just need to ponder on it. And it's a short read as well. It's something that you can get through really quickly. And see, even here on the Sunday Times, it says, I gulped it down in a day. It's about her Korean culture and Korean cooking, the cuisine, about how her mother works in this relationship, how it's a difficult relationship. It's strained at points, but how they navigate that. And it's a true story that I think a lot of us can relate to as well. Coming back to the fiction though, we have The Paris Express by Emma Donoghue. This is set at the turn of the century and of course is set in Paris, a bustling Paris. What I love so much about books that are set on trains is they have this like really tense feeling to them. You have a cast of characters and there's always a secret, just like in this book. There are secrets that go on that literally could be the end of everything for these people, and they are confined to a small space. And of course, when you are confined to a small space with people you do not know and characters that are so vastly different to anyone else you may have encountered, of course the tensions are going to rise. It's going to be high. It's going to be emotions are there for sure. So like I said, the passengers in this are carrying secrets that could be fatal. Europe is hurtling towards the future. The train is going towards the city of light and everything is just feeling a little bit overwhelming. And our main character is an anarchist who boards the train. She is determined to make her mark on history, and you'll have to find out whether she does. And then maybe if this one doesn't really scream out to you, you should try Emma Donoghue's other books because so many of them are based on true stories. Emma Donoghue loves like a historical fiction, like a book based on a true story. We have another memoir here, and this is Sociopath by Patrick Gagné. Patrick tells her story in this of how growing up she felt very different than all the other children, and it was quite difficult for her to understand why until she realized that she is actually a sociopath. And that led her on the journey to becoming a psychotherapist, which basically meant that she was asking all of these questions about where sociopaths fit into society. But also, can she answer these questions before her own behavior becomes too much? She takes it a step too far. This book is full of answers to the questions that you probably have about a sociopath. What a sociopath actually is, because I think there is a lot of misconception around the term and how it is attached to people. And Patrick Gagné essentially takes it away and says, this is what a sociopath is. Here is my experience. And I hope that other people can understand and relate to this, or at least be more aware of what it's like to be living with this label. Emma also did a really great video with Patrick Gagné on this channel, which I will link in the card above. It's so interesting. She asks Patrick all of the burning questions that you have about being a sociopath. So it's a really great watch. But yeah, the book is incredible and the video is so interesting too. Then finally, we have The Women by Kristen Hanna. If you've been here for a while, you will know Kristen Hanna is so great at writing books that are based on things that have actually happened. Historical fiction is where Kristen Hanna lives, it seems. And I filmed a reading vlog reading Kristen Hanna for the first time. I read The Women and The Nightingale. Again, I will link it for you, but the camera just died, so if the angle is slightly different, that's why. But I was talking about The Women. This is a story about heroism and friendship, I think. Frankie is our main character who goes off to the Vietnam War because her brother enlists in the Navy. He is met with so much praise and the family are so proud of him for going over there. Frankie then decides that she is going to go over as a nurse to help the soldiers and to also help the Vietnamese people as well, because she knows that they need healthcare just as much as the soldiers who are injured do. And her family are disgraced by her. They can't really believe what she's doing. They think they think she is an abomination for wanting to go and help people. There is this whole stigma around the fact that there are no women in the Vietnam War, which is ridiculous because obviously these women are there saving people's lives and they are completely overlooked and glossed over in history. And so Kristen Hanna takes the power back. She gives them their voice. And the first half of the book deals with Frankie as she is in the war and the struggles that she has from that and how difficult it is to be in that situation. War is never a good thing. But then the second half of the book is the aftermath. What happens after you have been in a traumatic place for so long where you are seeing so much death and so much destruction? What happens when you have to go back to quote-unquote real life? While she's in Vietnam, she meets two other women, Ethel and Barb, and they form this trio, this really lovely and wholesome friendship. And throughout their entire lives, the one thing that they always come back to is each other. And they are each other's emotional support because they were the only people who knew what actually went down when they were over there. Kristen Hanna knows how to pull on your heartstrings, and in this one, she definitely does as well. But yeah, it's a book that I think everybody should read at least once in their lifetime, and I really, really enjoyed it. So that is it. Those are the 6 books that I recommend reading if you are into true stories or you want to read about a true story. I hope you enjoyed this book break video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.